My name's Teacher Hannah, and here at Orchard Academy, I teach a Greek mythology course, both live and over flex classes anytime you want. So I thought for our read aloud competition, I would read to you one of my favorite Greek myths of all time, the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. Let's read together. I hope you like it as much as I do. Our story begins when King Aegeus of Athens was saddened by the fact that he was childless. While traveling through the south of Greece, he stopped in Troezen and met there the king's daughter Athra and fell in love. In the morning, after they were married, he placed a sword and a pair of sandals in a small cave-like hollow, and he told Athra that if she should have a male child, when the boy was strong enough to move the boulder and fetch the goods beneath it by himself, she should send him to Athens to claim his father. Well, she did have a son, and the child Theseus grew faster and stronger than all of the other children, and soon moved the boulder by himself. As soon as he did this, his grandfather made a ship ready to take him to Athens. But Theseus chose to go the more dangerous land route. He loved the stories of great heroes like Heracles, who was actually his cousin, and he wanted to prove his strength on his own and become just as famous a hero. Well, it worked. On the way to Athens, he fought many monsters, cyclopses with one eyes, robbers, and by the time he reached his father's city, he was already famous. While King Aegeus had no idea that this famed young stranger was his son, he was afraid this youth was coming to overthrow him. So his new wife, the magician Medea, had an idea. They prepared a poison that would be fed to Theseus in a banquet for his honor. Theseus, however, was so excited to meet his father that before even eating, he drew his sword, and King Aegeus recognized it as the one he had left. He dashed the cup to the ground, and Theseus chased Medea out of the city. She knew exactly who he was. The king proclaimed Theseus as his heir, and the young man immediately saw an opportunity to prove himself to the people of Athens. For many years, the king Minos of Crete had forced the people to send 7 boys and 7 girls to his city every year to be fed to a minotaur. The Minotaur was the most unfortunate of beasts. Long ago, the god Poseidon had given Minos a mighty bull to be sacrificed to himself. But Minos had kept it, and as punishment, Poseidon cursed his son to be half man, half bull, and to only eat human flesh. So every year, the 14 Athenians were his meal. Theseus volunteered to go in place of one of the boys, and although it made his father sad, his father knew he was a strong hero. They sailed off in a ship with black sails of misery, and his father made him promise if he did kill the monster to come home with white sails of joy. Now the Minotaur lived in a labyrinth, a structure built especially for him to keep him trapped, and through which no one had ever escaped. As the Athenians, however, were brought into the city, paraded as sacrifices going to meet their doom, the princess of Crete, Ariadne, spied Theseus from her balcony window and fell in love. She commanded he be brought to her, and in her room she told him the way to escape. She told him she could help him even kill the Minotaur, but in exchange he had to marry her. Theseus agreed. She showed him the door of the labyrinth, and she gave him a ball of thread to unwind as he walked through so that he could follow it back to the surface. That way he could retrace his steps. She had learned this trick from Daedalus himself, the architect who built the labyrinth well. Theseus walked on careful feet, climbing over the rocks as silent as a goat, and he found the Minotaur fast asleep. His heavy head was thick with 2 horns resting against his chest. Theseus crept closer. The stench of the massive beast's blood breath made his own blood race. It was kill or be devoured. Theseus beat him with his bare fists, And the beast woke, eyes full of tragedy. Theseus beat with the speed of a hummingbird's wings, but the heft of a wild horse's hooves. He beat even when his fists were bloody themselves. He beat even when it was clear nothing moved but his fists. Nothing else lived. The pitiable creature died in a daze. Theseus followed the thread trail back to the labyrinth door and led the other Athenian youths to freedom. He found Ariadne, and they all got on a ship heading back to Athens, stopping briefly at Naxos, an island sacred to the god Dionysus. There, as he looked around at his people, he realized that if he took Ariadne with him, the king of Crete would follow. So while she slept, he left her there. He broke his promise, but the god Dionysus, whose island they had visited, took pity on her and married her himself. And that is the story of how Theseus slayed the Minotaur. If you liked this story and want to know others like it, you should definitely join our class. We meet, like I said, at several times live throughout the week, or you can take our Flex course where we go through all of these stories on your time. I can't wait to see you there, and I can't wait to see your own videos about what you love to read. Bye!